crowd, and just great to see everyone here. Would like to start off by introducing your head table. On my extreme right is J.D. Lafrance, that's Paul's grandson, and next to him is Paul's daughter-in-law, Chris, and Paul's son, Paul Jr.,
the smiley one,
and Paul's one and only daughter, Patrice, and Becky, Mrs. Lafrance, and next to Becky is our honored guest. And on Paul's right, our Commissioner of Works, the other right.
We know about that in survey.
That's why I'm not a surveyor. I knew you work in construction. On Fred's left is our Director of Operations, Murdoch Robertson. And next to him, our construction manager, Al Stacy. And next to Al is Al Roy, the president of Dunedin Construction. And I'm Ernie Patterson. We will start off, we will have grace, and following grace, we will file out the door to the right here, beginning with the head table, followed by the table on the right, and the center, and the left, and so on. And
Grace.
Almighty God, glorious architect of the universe, by whose creative hand we have our being. We ask your blessing on this food we are about to receive. We ask you to bless it to us and us to thy service, and keep us ever mindful of the needs of others. Amen. Amen.
Now, Ernie.
Bring the charger with you. Sweetheart.
Explanatory report, Murdoch might ask. With Paul, it's the day before he goes on loop. There he is, Paul Lutang Lafrance. set of drawings. So Paul takes a course in calligraphy. His next set came in looking like it had been done by King Arthur. I mean, look at this guy. Is that 65? Now, BT, there. Paul started with the city on May 26, 1965 as a construction inspector. I believe working on the reconstruction of Center Street past City Hall with Dufferin. I do remember, however, that Paul worked with me on Rainer's job. On Central Street South by the tracks with Jerry Jackman. Hey, Jerry, built all that if you want. And also Jerry's many subcontractors. We sent Paul to Branson Hospital for an ulcer operation after that.
His supervisor wasn't much help.
Later on in 1973, Paul was inspector on a contract number 7329. Starting off a contractor by the name of Dunedin Construction on municipal contract work. Al Roy is here this evening and may just want to get 10, 4, 6, and 8. Also, Gil Zwicker was Paul's supervisor on that job. I'll be Gil Zwicker. Over the years, I found that the inspector is often underrated in terms of our municipal operations. He is thought to be responsible for the errors of everyone involved in a project. He is thought to be responsible for the ability of the contractor's organization to perform good work. And he is thought to be responsible for smoothly coordinating the project to please everyone. Well, Paul has quietly met these challenges as a construction inspector and can take pride in the fact that he has supported the goals of the City of Oshawa as an organization. And at this time, I would ask all those here to rise and pay tribute to Paul Lafrance. Yeah. Construction company with whom a respected and warm relationship has existed with the City of Oshawa since back in 1973. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Alan Roy.
Thanks, Ernie. Well, Paul, it has finally arrived. I mean your retirement party. It has been the longest coming party we have ever known of. Paul, a lot of other contractors feel also, has been retired for the last 20 years. They say that entering into retirement requires some adjustment. And of course it does. Your lifestyle, new hobbies, special interests become a focus. You have to be able to adjust. In Paul's case, this transition occurred long ago. Being a contractor, you get to observe many things out in the field. And one of them being is, Paul has been an inspiration and a leader to many of his cohorts, his inspectors, and incoming inspectors as well. He's been a real inspiration to them. They modeled Paul's enthusiasm for the job, extra long coffee breaks, 2-hour lunches, and a banker-type hour. It's not uncommon to hear any one of them say with great assurance, "Why should I do that? Paul Lafrance doesn't."
Better.
Oh, another quality he has, he's one hell of an actor. We all know how attached he is to the field office. He was diligently conducting his inspection from the front window. When I came in and said, "Paul, we have a problem in the field. We have wet ground, we can't get a base for our pipe, we're going to have to dig deeper, we need stone." "Why should I do that?" "We need you out there to take a look." So, the site was really wet. It was October, it had been raining for 2 months. We were having a hell of a time. And if you walk halfway across the field, your feet weighed about 30 pounds. Paul hated to go out of the trailer. So we started over to the job, and I was out with the survey crew, Bob Caberly. We were out on the dry part of the road, and he was walking into the site. All of a sudden, I hear these horns beeping. The operator, the machine's going nuts. The loader operator is coming out, running. I look around, I don't see Paul anywhere. We go walking over. The operator's pointing down. "He took a dive, he's in the mud." Holy shit. So I go running. He's face down in the mud. I pick him up, prop him up, lean him up against myself. All the symptoms of a heart attack. I yell over to Bob. He's by the van. I say, "Get an ambulance!" as loud as I could. He radios over to the city. An ambulance is on its way. So I'm there sitting with Paul and covering him. And the ambulance came and took him away. And we were really, what the hell's the problem? What's the matter? We've all seen hockey, Paul, and we know what a dive is. He was so convincing, he had 6 weeks off. He comes back to the contract in time for the final measurements. A little further back, Ernie was mentioning 29. That was at Thornton Road in Salerno. Jerry Jackman was a partner at that time. I wasn't.
Now you own the place.
But anyway, that was the first job Dunedin ever had for the city of Oshawa. We got off to a super start. It was the worst spring ever. It rained. I can remember one week we got 16 hours in 5 days. It was just incredible. It was another muddy site. But he spent more time at the sauna and everything else. But anyway, he made his one and only contribution to the special provisions and specs in the city of Oshawa as a result of this job. It was considered one of the most important and precedent-setting rules, and appreciated by the other inspectors, that has ever happened. We, as the contractors, knew something was happening because every morning, 9:30 a.m., a blue car would pull in. No, 3 blue cars would pull in. 4 trucks and 3 cars. They'd get out, park, and go into our trailer and close the door. We weren't allowed in. This went on, for about 8 weeks, 9 weeks. It started in July and stopped around August, end of August. We were really curious what the hell was going on there. because we were not allowed. But as it got close to the end of the job in September, the meeting stopped. I guess they took a vote and everything was resolved. And we never found out what they were talking about. Was it us? What the hell's going on? In 1974, we found out what had conspired. They incorporated a
The air
detail
conditioned field office.
Item number 1, field office for city inspectors. Oh, right. Of course, we know we have to have a desk and everything else, and there was a phone with a private line. The real kicker was air conditioner. 1 air conditioner. Now, Dunedin, I mean, there wasn't even a true spec for that at that time. We were being nice. Of course, it's the only one we could have got at that time. But as it turned out, the other contractors blamed us. We blame you. Paul, in all sincerity, all the contractors and everyone I know speaks very highly of you. Not only in the construction, but as a person. We want to congratulate you in your retirement and wish you and Becky the best and much happiness for all the years. Thank you.
Moving right along. What is it they say about the old guys? Don't ask me. When the old guys, when the old guys are gone, you know who the old guys are. They're us. I would like to introduce one of those old guys to you right now. We're talking old here. This guy started with the city when it was called Ski's Corner. His wife Glynis keeps after him to go to a barber that doesn't put a hole in his hair. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who has contributed 40 years service to the city of Oshawa, our construction manager, Alan Stacy.
I really don't know how you can follow these two comments. So I'm not even going to try, except, yeah, BJ, you are pretty great. and the guy sitting beside you, he shines a bit. Same to you, dog. Yeah, I don't, Paul's sort of a precedent setter here, you know, tonight. We've had people leave the city, they go into private enterprise, they've gone to the region, and, you know, various different things. In the short history of the construction division, we've only had a couple of people that ever hung around long enough to retire, really. So Paul's setting a precedent here, and which I expect is going to be followed by, you know, some silver-haired people.
BJ!
We gotta make our contribution to this brain power that you hear about all the time. Paul, as has been noted earlier, has sort of been practicing on this a little bit. He gets this new time that everybody's talking about. He says goodbye in January. We see him again in March or thereabouts. And in between times, he does drop in a key and picks up his checks. And in my instance, my office overlooks King Street, and I sit there on the phone and and talking on the phone, looking out the window. Can't do it other than, when I'm on the phone or something like that. And I'll see Paul walking up the street there to his fitness class over at the Phi building in the wintertime, so I know everything's fine in bed. And that's after he gets back from Spain or, wherever he's to France or wherever he decides to go that year. So he's been putting in a lot of practice on this. So for that reason, I think that Paul is going to have a very successful retirement. I wish the best to him. And I'd like to thank him for the time that he's been with the city and the dedication that he's offered to us. And may you have a really good and long retirement.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, having a birthday in common with Paul Lafrance, may also be interested to know that back in 1923, Queen's University beat Regina 54-0. And as you may know, he is a strong supporter of the double blue. This gentleman has been quarterbacking public works operations at City Hall for 22 years plus. In that time, there have been a few trades. There's been the odd guy benched. But the team is still a contender. May I introduce to you Mr. Murdoch?
Thanks, Ernie. I never realized that Ernie was in his wrong profession.
Now you know!
Al made some comments, and we all made some comments during the course of the evening about us all getting older. And there's 3 ways to tell whether you're getting older or not. Number 1, loss of memory. Number 2, let's forget that. Anyways, I would like to end the evening here on a bit of a serious note. We've had a lot of fun and a lot of joking, and yet Paul's offered so much to the city in these last 23 years that I would just like to comment on some of them. There is a great tendency, I think, to focus on a few individuals in life, and when you look at the success of them, to forget the people who supported them. And I think it's the people who support people are the strength of any structure, and that would make something go well. And it's something like a baseball team. If you watch the games on the weekend, you focus in on the pitcher, and they focus in on the catcher, and they focus in on the $2 million per year man, but they forget the rest of the team, the fellow playing second base and the fellow doing the real groundwork of the team. And I think Paul's that type of individual, which is one of the strengths of our department, and I think one of the strengths of the organization, and that's why he's so well thought of. I guess if we had to pick 2 words to describe Paul, would be number 1 would be dependability. I think we've joked about Paul, but yet everyone can count on him day in and day out. And I think that's beyond doubt. And number 2, is the word compatibility. Paul accepts everyone under all situations. He accepts all circumstances as they exist. And because of that, he gets along well with everyone. And with that dependability and that compatibility and that fantastic smile that he has, he is just a credit, and that's why there's so many people here tonight for this tribute to Paul Lafrance. And Paul, on behalf of the department and on behalf of the city, we wish you all the riches of life, the richness of good health, and we hope you have many, many years of that. The richness of leisure time for which you can spend your time painting, and which is a hobby. The richness of a family and a wife and grandchildren which surround you with love. And in closing, we thank you for deciding to come to Oshawa and for sharing 23 years of your career with us and for making so many friends and for bringing such a credit to the city and to the department. And on behalf of all of us, Paul and Becky and Paul and Chris and TJ and Patrice, thank you very, very much for sharing Paul Lafrance with the city.
Anyone else wants to get a shot at Paul? But now I'd like to call on Paul and give him a chance to get back at us, and I think we'll limit him to about a half an hour. But just prior to that, I would call on John Barron to present a gift that we have this evening to you, Paul. I call on John Barron as he has been responsible for organizing this evening for us. He's done the groundwork and done a beautiful job on it with the help of Norm Breton.
Paul and his family at the table, and to ladies and gentlemen, had a bit of help constructing this kind of a party. I have to recognize BJ, Norman, and there's Lester the DJ, and especially Moida. Thank you very much for your work materially at City Hall. And there's a few other ones, but they're not around. Robin Braven did some groundwork at the region. We'd like to thank Al and his people at his area there, and the rest of the contractors, Jerry, and so forth. And I think we've had pretty good turnout for some of the fellows that used to work with Paul, Roy, and with Donnie, and God knows where are the other ones. Robin Boyce is somewhere. There must be a few more somewhere that I'm missing. If I could see them, I'll recognize them. Believe me, I am standing up. Hey, BJ, you gotta help me.
I done enough time looking after myself.
I'd like to stand on her shoulders. I'd like to thank Ernie for doing a marvelous job, and for all the speakers.